Hey, my name's Noah Moore, and this is my vlog on the movie Midsommar. It was written and directed by Ari Aster, my favorite movie producer. He has made other movies such as Hereditary, and he's really good. He's sort of new, sort of not. He only has a few movies out, but those are the two most well known. Midsommar came out in 2019, and even 4 years later, it is still. It's got very good messages. Although it's sort of strange, it's got really good messages that we can learn a lot from. The topic that I am focusing on today is going to be mental health and the awareness that we need to have of it. So one thing that really was kind of seen throughout the movie was the mental health of the different characters. For example, we see Danny's sister. She had she had problems with a bipolar disorder, and we can see that through her emails with Danny, how she was kind of frantic and changing back and forth where she was okay, and then she would get an email where she wasn't, and she was kind of making her sister worried. And then we also see Danny, how in one scene we see that she was on her phone with her friend after she was talking with Christian, and where she was really frantic and acting very anxious, and we see that she took some medicine that it showed it was Ativan or lorazepam, which is it's an anxiety drug that helps you calm down and kind of collect your thoughts. And we also can see how mental disorders can kind of take shape. Even Christian, we see him change throughout the movie, where at first he kind of acts like Danny's, we're like, he doesn't know if they really have a future. And then he kind of just changes where in my opinion, he got very anxious and really driven apart from the group because he was letting his opinions and all of his frustration kind of taking it out on people, which can be signs of, anxiety and sometimes even depression. But I really want to focus on Danny because at the beginning of the movie, she seems kind of carefree, and she seems like a nice young lady that is very energetic and outgoing. And after her parents die, which that's very tragic, she lost her parents and her sister in a very horrific way. So we see her change into where she starts mourning their loss. Then once we get the scene where she decides she is going to Sweden with Christian and his friends, she decides, or when she goes in the bathroom and we have the transition where she starts crying, we think, before then, we're like, okay, well, she seems like she's moved on pretty good because she's talking with Christian's friends and getting along with them as if, nothing happened. So we see her kind of get over that. And once we get the transition of her walking into the bathroom in the apartment where they're on the plane, she's crying, we see, okay, she's still going through the tough time. But then once they get to Sweden, we see how she is very worried, and she's just very unsure about the place, and she really hasn't opened herself back up because before she was this very energetic and caring girl that was really outgoing, and she was friendly. But then we see her kind of closed up, and she's not really talkative to people, and although she's still nice, she's just not really, like I said, talkative to people. But we saw her change, especially like from the beginning to the end of the movie. Like at the end, she doesn't act like herself at all. And honestly, in my opinion, there was some physical changes, like appearance wise. She didn't look the same. Like she looked like she had a whole different mindset and personality. Even her looks, she looked just more like carefree. Like she didn't really care about the friends or whatever. And her mental disorder, I feel like also is another reason why she stayed with the people in the village after seeing her boyfriend and his friends die, and she decided to stay with them because with Christian she didn't really feel a connection anymore, and she kind of felt like she was driving him away, and he didn't really like her anymore. And um, so she kind of, after she lost her parents and she didn't have nobody else to turn to, and the people in the village kind of, even though they were in the wrong, they accepted her as one of their own, especially after she won the May Queen, and she felt like they accepted her, and she felt like she actually belonged somewhere. And that's it. Really, it's crazy of how much she changed throughout the movie, and we can see that through her mental state. How, like I said in the beginning of the movie, she was carefree, outgoing, energetic, to now she just doesn't even seem like herself anymore. And I just feel like that's something we need to be more conscious of, especially in our day to day life. As I struggle with anxiety, I know so many people that struggle with depression, anxiety, and all kinds of different mental disorders. And it's very tough, it's challenging. And we can see that in this movie, and it shows us what the results can be. So I really think that was one of the big main points of the film that doesn't really get talked about, and I think it is really good for us to learn from it. Thank you for listening.